Well, the Fat Quarter Shop has done it again. Check out this beautiful new Layer Cake Lily shortcut quilt. Isn't it gorgeous? And you know what makes it special? Those little half square triangles that create the petals on those lilies. And I'm going to show you exactly how to trim them to perfection. I'm Lea Louise from Inspired Quilting by Lea Louise. And fortunately, this wonderful free pattern that you can download with the link below shows you exactly how to make this, and the half square triangles are slightly oversized so you can trim them to perfection, and I'm going to show you how to do that easily, and I hope you will take a look at this. The quilt kit is already available. The free pattern you can download. There's just so much to look at, so don't miss any of it. I'm going to show you exactly how to make this quilt. Receiving a box from the Fat Quarter Shop is always a special day, cause for celebration, because I have new fabric. I am so excited. They have invited me to make one of their new shortcut quilts, and it is a layer cake quilt, and you're going to love it. And this pattern is called the Layer Cake Lily. I love the kit. It's beautiful. And the pattern is just such fun. Of course, it's flowers. That's always big for me. Now, I chose the Laguna Sunrise fabric by Sherry and Chelsea, and I think it's going to be gorgeous. Look at this. So, as I said, it's a layer cake quilt. So, here we are, and you can see we've got Laguna Sunrise, and it's by Moda. Let me just show you some of these fabrics. Oh my goodness. This is going to be so much fun. And there we go. Oh, and it's there we go. I'm going to open this. I'm going to carefully cut it with my razor blade because I don't want to cut the fabrics. There. And just look at how pretty this is. There's by Moda. We've got that. But I do like these wonderful bright summer colors. And of course, the florals always win me over. But the touches of blue in the background. Oh, that's so sweet. So let's take a look. We have some, what do we have at the bottom? We have some gray fabrics and some pretty, it's not quite lavender, but it is a pretty shade of purple. Look at that. Oh, and there's a lighter one. So we're kind of getting between the pinks and the purples here. Oh, those are some fun colors. And you'll see I have this here. I'm going to be doing the binding on the quilt with that fabric. Won't that be gorgeous? And, some pretty greens, some tealy greens. And, look at them all. And then some light, kind of a seafoam green. And then we get a bit into our limes. And there we are. That's a bright key lime is what we have there. So we're into some citrus colors. I love it. Nothing says summer like these gorgeous brights. And, there we've got some tangerine. So pretty. And look at this. You're going to also see this. That's going to be my backing. Won't that be gorgeous? So pretty. And then there's one other fabric in here that I have that I'm going to use in my quilt right there, the little pinwheels. And you can see that in the middle. That's going to be my background. So I'm going to show you the pattern here, and I'm going to show you how to make a block. The block is available for free to download on the Fat Quarter Shop, but you can buy the kit. And when you go online, Fat Quarter Shop, check out the Layer Cake Lily, the shortcut quilts, and you'll see the pattern as well as the kit with the fabrics that they've selected. It's so pretty. You can also check out Laguna Sunrise. It's not in shops yet, I don't think, but it's coming. You can get on a list to be notified if you want to make something with these. Oh, won't this be beautiful? I can't wait. I'm going to show you a gorgeous quilt here before you know it. This block goes together quite easily. There are actually 4 components that you repeat to create a single block. And I'm going to show you how to do one of those, and then we'll put it together. So first we take our squares, and this is all on the pattern. Remember, this is a free pattern to get the block instructions from the Fat Quarter Shop. So all the dimensions are listed there. And what you're going to do is put a focal fabric and your background fabric, you put those squares on top of each other with a line drawn. We've done this before to make half square triangles, and then we then we sew our seam on 1/4 inch away from the line, so you can see where I've done that. And then what you're going to do, just like we've done before, is we want to press our half square triangle with the seam going towards the focal fabric and not the background. And that one doesn't want to stay put. So there we are. So that's essentially what we are, and we're going to go and press those. And remember, don't press along the seam because that will stretch it. You want to press it in the direction of the fabric, the grain of the fabric, which way the threads go. So you're going to go this way and this way to get a nice square block. So these are nice and pressed, and what I want to show you is how to trim these. These are cut, the pieces that we sew together are cut about 1/8 of an inch larger than needed. But that makes it so much easier because you're going to have room to trim and you're not going to come up short. Now, I like to use a small square ruler, and I like having my seam vertical. This just seems to really work for me when I cut because I can go this way and this way without crossing my arm and doing any twist motions. So we have our pressed block right here. And this needs to measure 3 inches. So what we'll do, let me just put that right here, is we take this line. I think you can see that line right there. It says 45 degrees. Do it this way so you can see. 45 degrees. And we're going to put that right on the diagonal line from corner to corner. Now, this corner is where the 3 inches will meet. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So that corner needs to be right where the edge of your block is. You don't want to be too far down because then you won't have enough fabric, and you don't want to be too far up or your block will turn out a bit on the wonky side, and we don't want to do that. So we just have our line, and see, it can be off one way or the other. Make sure you get it right on the seam. And you see there's not that much to trim off, but this gives you the opportunity to get a nice square, so you're going to have a beautiful finished block. Now, I do flip it around the other way. I find if I line this up at 3 inches on the first cut, when I flip it around to go the other way, there's not that much, but I still want to trim off that dog ear. So there's a little bit here and here. And then there's my block. So let me go ahead and we'll do the other one real quick. We'll line up our diagonal. We'll get our 3 inches here and here. And there we are. So I'm going to cut this. Now, it's not unusual for one block to have more fabric trimmed off than another. And that's just the way we sew. It's our seam allowance. It's all those different things. And that's why we want to trim, because a block like this, you want them all to be the same size so that they fit and they line up. And look, it just took a little bit, but now that's nice and square. So once we have these half square triangles, we're going to start putting our block together. And let me lay it out for you and show you how this is going to work. So we have our center, our flower center, and then these half square triangles become the petals on each side. So what we'll do is sew these together this way. So the first one we do is going to be right here. We'll sew that. One thing I really want to stress is follow the pressing instructions, because if you press it in the direction indicated on the pattern, as you sew this, all your seams are going to be going in the direction you want them to. It's going to be easier to sew, because if we had to sew this and the seam was facing up, it can be twisted and get kind of messy. So we don't want that to happen. So we sew this and flip it over. just like we did here. I sewed this piece and turn it over. Now, the pressing does become important when you go to put this together. I'll show you here. And so I have my first piece, and I pressed it towards the background. And this one over here, when you press it, it's going to go towards the accent fabric. And the reason we do that is when we sew this, we want our seam to be going this direction when we put it together. So this seam here, when we press this block, we press it so it comes up like this. And see how we sew right along there. Now this becomes important when you sew the rest of the pieces, and it just makes it so much smoother. And then here we take these long pieces, and it goes this way. We sew it together, and that becomes this petal here. And so you see how easily this all goes together. There are a lot of pieces. There's quite a bit of cutting. So I did my cutting in one day, and then I did the piecing the next day. And it goes really fast. But you really need to pay attention to the pattern to make sure that you get your triangles going in the right direction. I tell you that because I had a couple in the beginning that I flipped the wrong way. I was just picking them up and turning. So you can see on this one, when I'm sewing this block together like this, if I pick it up the wrong way, what I did is I sewed it this way instead of that way. So when I opened it up, it didn't fit into the pattern. So make sure you have everything set in the right direction so that you don't make a mistake like that. Now, once this is done, you have all these blocks made, all your lilies are together. You're going to start putting in strips. And these are the separating strips that go between each block. And the beauty of that is that eliminates matching seams. So you see where we have points, there really aren't very many matching seams throughout. Now these I did, and when I sewed this, I sewed it from this side because I wanted to be able to come down and sew that seam right there. What I want to show you is this is where the seam meets, just right to the inside towards the fabric, towards the block, but I want my seam to be on the side towards the seam allowance. That way I'm going to get a nice pretty point. It's when you get too close and you don't leave enough room there for the fabric to fold over that you'll lose your points, and we don't want that to happen. So that's the close-up personal on how to do this. Let me get these blocks assembled and I'll show you how that goes together. And here's the finished quilt. Oh, it is so pretty. All those bright colors, they just look lovely together. And like I said, these half square triangles just add the nicest touch to create the lily look. I mean, they look like beautiful little flowers just set in a bouquet, and just all of them sort of falling about every which way. And it is such an easy quilt to put together. You'll be amazed how quick you can make this. And it's a gorgeous one, and you can even do just a single block and make a pillow or make a cushion, or, do 4 and make a wall hanging. So there are a lot of options for you here. But I'm so glad you joined me, and I hope you love this quilt. It was great fun to make. And as always, it is such a pleasure to have you here. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a fantastic rest of your day.